Let's do it. 5,
Sleepy time, Blake.
4. Hey everybody, welcome to League of Legends Anonymous Podcast! Episode 145. With me this week is my, number one dude. I think that's a good handle. Zill.
Really?
Yeah, you're my number one dude.
Oh, I wasn't sure it was gonna be me.
Yeah,
I
dude,
didn't
you're my
know.
number one
No,
dude,
it's
man.
definitely Zill.
You're not my
Oh,
number two,
thanks,
dude.
buddy.
Number one.
Yeah,
So,
I'm here.
with me is Zill. Number one, dude. Moving up. And also this week we have a special guest, Endevorite. You may recognize him from always being in the community. And he's got some exciting news that he's
And
gonna
for
share.
being better
Yeah.
than me.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's not true.
I think
Happens.
everybody
This
recognizes
is actually
him
pretty
for that.
pretty easy to happen. Yeah.
So he's on. He's got some pretty exciting news. We wanted to talk to him about it because I think we get a legit milestone this week, which is awesome. And he wanted to share that with us. We have some questions. We're gonna do a brief interview and stuff like that. And we'll just see how things go. Additionally, as an announcement, I've slept 2 hours today, so I
Same,
may
actually.
get real weird.
Yeah, it's gonna get real weird.
It's not on purpose.
I am sick and I
Alright.
didn't sleep.
Yeah, and you're at a protest. By the way, what were you protesting?
That was me. No, never mind. It wasn't really a protest. I was there to harass people who needed harassing, and
Okay.
it was like anti-gay people and stuff. And I was like, "Fuck."
Oh,
you.
it was like anti-gays. And
I was
you were
like
harassing the
protesting a
anti-gays?
protest. Yeah, it was like that.
So-
Oh,
it's
you were
anti-anti.
counter-protesting.
Yes, yes,
Oh, sweet.
yeah.
Cool.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Well, shut those anti-gay guys down.
I'm just there to make them uncomfortable, and that's the
You
fun
just
for
you
me.
just walk up and give
You
them
just
all
get real
hugs.
close. Yeah,
Give them a kiss on the
hi.
cheek. Just like, hey, you're cute.
You're cute.
That's an adorable sign. It
You're
really
sure
brings out
gay.
your eye.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe you are. I don't know.
Hey, is that me grabbing your balls? It is. It is. So anyway, yeah, Endevorite. What I've kind of hyped this up very
Yeah, I know.
not well.
I'm
but,
kind of afraid to underdeliver now.
Can I
Yeah,
hype
to
it
be
up a little
honest.
bit?
Yeah, go
'Cause,
for
No,
it.
I don't
okay.
need any more of this.
Hype
Right.
train it.
So I met this guy like a couple of years ago playing League of Legends, and we
Yeah,
were playing
season 7.
against each other. I think
Met
I
him a
was
couple of years ago at a gay
yeah,
protest.
I was playing mid lane Zill.
We were on opposite sides.
We were on
playing
opposite
against
sides.
each
We
other.
weren't like the thing is, and here's the thing. Penguin says turn off all chat. No, don't, because you might make friends. And
Yeah.
I made a friend that night.
This is a
It was
true
Endeavor.
league.
Is that really
Friendship
what
story.
happened?
That's actually the story. Yes.
I did not. This is the first I've ever heard of this. This is
Yeah.
awesome.
So
Yeah.
like 2 years ago, we met each other playing on opposite sides, and both of our teams were going mental, like on each other, and we were like kind of cross talking in all chat, like, man. Is your team like really crazy? And he's like, yeah, my team's like freaking out on my ADC, and like, I don't know what to do, man. Like, we're just trying to, climb or whatever. And then, after the game, after the post chat, like everyone was kind of looking at stats and everything. I was like, this guy's he did pretty good in lane. Like, I'll just invite him. And so I did. And I think I was doing with somebody else at the time. But then I replaced him with Endevorite because Endevorite and I really matched up really well with roles. And so it worked out. It was really great.
Yeah.
Because he played Alawi top at the time, and I played Zillion. And basically, he would go in when he knew he was going to die, like you do. And then
Like
I
Alawi
just do
does
that
to
thing where I
begin
press
with.
that R button.
Yeah.
And it was really fun. And sometimes he didn't die, which was even better.
Alawi and Zillion would actually be a pretty
It's
strong.
massive when it
Yeah,
works.
it'd be a pretty
it's
strong
pretty
combo.
massive.
One
Yeah.
double
It's
bomb,
scary.
and
Uh-huh.
she just
She jumps in with a speed up. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not fun.
that
Plus
would
you
be
get that
pretty
bomb
nice.
damage on the spirit on the actual champs too. So double it
yeah.
up.
Then additionally, Alawi and Zillion ult. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of broken.
Yeah, we were kind of we would pretty much 2v4 the enemy team, and sometimes 2v5 in the right conditions. It was really great.
It worked.
cool. I actually met Endevorite. Like how I met Endevorite story is I was in the podcast, like the Discord channel, and he's like, "Hey," he's like, "Hey," he's like, "Your name's Blake, huh?" It's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, yeah, it is," and he's like, "Me too." I was like, "Oh,
It's my only claim to fame.
well, all right." And then I think I said something about he must be intelligent and charming if his name is Blake, because we all are. You
It's
know, I
it's
mean,
kind of true.
it's just part of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even the girl Blakes, like Blake Lively,
Yeah.
super hot,
Smart cookie.
just like the rest of us.
Super hot smart cookie. Cool.
Hmm.
Got it.
So, anyway, uh, before we really actually get to his like killer, awesome, mega hype announcement, I want to make a brief shout out because I found out something. I was talking to Frost, and if you guys don't know, Frost used to be a host on our podcast. He was always on Leaguecast, but he was doing two at one point, where he was doing us and doing Leaguecast at the same time.
He was doing us. That's true.
Yeah, and Frost was talking to me about climbing the ladder in exposure on podcasts and like being charted like on Spotify and on all the other things and like what actually makes a difference. And I was like, what is it? Like we can't seem to like crest charts. You know what I mean? And it's like super
Mm-hmm.
frustrating. We should be able to do that cuz like we have the downloads. We have like a community that is a functional equivalent of like a local bar, you know.
It's better than that, but yeah.
Well, no, I mean like you see the
Well,
same
there's no
people and
booze.
you go in. There's like regulars. It feels like
You
Cheers.
don't know there's no booze.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, it feels like Cheers. You know what I mean? Like it's the same kind of cast of characters hanging
Except
out.
more relevant, but yes.
Yeah, sure. Modern Cheers.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, you know, we've got this. We enjoy a whole lot of Patreon support, which, thanks, guys. I really appreciate the Patreon support. That is actually what enabled us to pay for Squadcast. Uh, and has improved the video quality of the stream and has improved the audio quality of the stream. So, thank you guys. Really appreciate that and the podcast in general. But that's because of you guys. Also, I need you guys to keep it up because I put Squadcast on my credit card and the podcast is paying me back for that. So, that would be great. And then secondly, I need to buy what's his nuts? Penguin. Danger
Penguin.
Penguin.
Whose nuts are you buying?
Yeah, I need to buy Danger Penguin a mic. Like he needs to get a good Yeti. We need to get him a Yeti. So
Tried
That
and
would be
true.
nice.
that's what
His voice
that's
is
the next-
actually great. You just don't know it
yeah.
because
It
you've
just
been
sounds
hearing
like
shit.
grainy ass. And I bought him a video camera, like a webcam, because his webcam was so bad it looked like he was swimming through butter.
Oh, God,
So-
I remember that.
Yikes.
We fixed that because he was like 8-bit for a while. It looked really bad. So we fixed that, but then I found out he also needs like a mic, so I'm not 100% sure. You know, we need to generate some more cash if we're going to do that. And then also, like, eventually when Worlds comes back around to NA and it's feasible to actually, like, travel somewhere, I would like the podcast to be able to, like, pay for
that'd
like
be
a
sick.
Airbnb, and if everybody can get down
People come
there,
hang out.
we'd all
Yeah.
hang out. Like that would be super cool, and then we'd record some shit or have a good time or do whatever, like we did in Chicago 3 years ago or whatever. Like I want to do that shit again, and the podcast needs to like generate enough to like me be able to like say thank you to the guys that donate their time besides me that do this. And I want to do that for them. So thank you guys for your Patreon support. Please keep it up. We have had a dip like this month, but I think it's like within the range of normal ups and downs, so I'm not really worried about it. But yeah, oh, right. So I was talking to Frost. And so Frost's like, dude, how the fuck do we climb this ladder? Like, you guys seem to be doing great. And I don't know, like, maybe it's because you've recorded so long or whatever. And we've been there long enough. Like, we should be on charts, right? Coincidentally, I checked the charts for LOLA Podcast, and we are on one chart. Guess what shit is?
It's not a good chart, is it?
No. No, it is
What
not.
chart is that?
We are the number 68 in gaming in Malaysia.
All
Whoa.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Weird.
We're big time, Malaysia style.
I see.
Like, fucking A. We're not on. And Frost is like, yeah, we got on these charts and, like, people are reaching out to us to do, like, advertising and stuff. I'm like, nobody's ever reached out for us to do shit. Like, this is bullshit. I want to advertise some shit. I want people to buy cool stuff. That would be awesome. But apparently, for that, we need, like, basically reviews on all the sites. Like, not just iTunes, though iTunes is a huge metric. We need it on, like, Stitcher and Spotify and whatever, anything else that you could realistically find us on.
So here's the thing: what you need to do though when you put your review in is you need to advocate for the Astros LOLA podcast tattoo. That
Yeah,
needs
we
to
could
happen.
do that.
Yeah. So
But that-
put that
hold on.
somewhere in the review. Please ask for that somewhere
See, we
specific.
could get a tattoo shop sponsorship.
Yeah, be like Astros needs to get a
Tie-in.
LOLA podcast logo tattoo on his butt or something.
Yeah, well, that was the prime location. That's
Right.
That was
Well,
the
see, Astros is not going to listen.
What
to
if it
this.
was like a QR
So we're
code?
telling you so that
to the
you
website.
put this on there.
the QR code. Oh, that is
Oh
amazing.
shit!
We
Yeah.
should make him get a tattoo for a QR code for the website. That would be badass.
Either the Discord like invite link or the website.
Ooh, what if we
Okay,
made the
that
QR
works.
code scannable in a rather larger, like, LOLA podcast logo?
I mean, I think that's asking a lot.
I don't.
But
I'm paying for the
if we can
damn
get the
thing. I
right
think
people
I'll
to
ask
do it.
for whatever the fuck I
Yeah.
want at this point. I don't care if it's a snowman's nipples at this point. If we're going to generate the money, then yes. So, anyway, we had a new review. I am looking it up, but I did want to read it because every time we get a review, I read those damn things. So, if I can find it, I will read it. And there's a bit of irony that goes with this review because the review is like heavily in favor of Ponderous Sea Lion. And yikes. So, here it is. My podcast reviews. One new review. Ponderous Lives. An Apple Podcast by DJ JF from the United States of America on July 26th.
Not
I loved the last episode where Papa played Cat. What made the episode was Ponderous's input. Please start playing League again so I can listen to you more, man. I love the podcast, but it's even better with Ponderous. Hashtag, please come back. Hashtag, Ponderous Goat. Which I assume is greatest of all time.
yes.
Okay. So the irony is, like, 2 days ago, Ponderous quit League for, like, the 8th time.
Which sucks because me and him were duoing.
Yeah,
Going
me and
kinda
him
well.
were duoing. It wasn't working out super well, but so yeah, Ponderous took another hiatus. He's playing Dota right
What?
now
Really?
again.
Really? I doubt that.
Well, no,
Somehow I
he
doubt
he literally is. I will read you the chain that he sent me of angry rants about League. And he was like, League is not a game that respects your time. I'm going to play Dota because Dota actually respects the time you put into it.
What?
And
I know, but I've already put in
et
so
cetera, et
much time to
cetera, et
leave.
cetera.
I
Right.
don't have time for another
Kind
one.
of how I
Ponderous
feel.
doesn't respect his own time. Like, my God. Fuck,
That
dude.
suck.
Cat in the
That's
Hat
suck.
2? No.
that is not-
That's not a game you play if you
Yeah,
respect yourself or your time.
But Cat in the Hat 2 is like a cry for help, really. But, so
And
anyway.
this is just the sin that was admitted. Like, we don't even
Yeah,
know
yeah,
what
that's
else
just
he's
the
not
tip of the
into.
iceberg, man. I don't
Yeah,
know what
who
he's
knows?
doing behind closed doors. God only
Seriously.
knows. But, yeah. So, like, we get this glowing email for Ponderous with, like, this review, like, Ponderous is the best! And I'm like, yikes. He's probably not going to be on for a while. He'll come back probably in 2 or 3 weeks after he, like, gets bored of Dota. And then
Which
he'll...
happens.
yell at League for a while and then probably quit another 2 or 3 weeks after that, continuing the vicious cycle. But I'll try to make sure we get him back on when he actually starts playing League again, which, I don't know, it's probably imminent, realistically. So, yeah, what a timely review. But I tell you what I would like is several more just like it on every station. Because I would rather not chart in only fucking Malaysia. Nothing against
Hey,
our
man.
Malaysian fans. They're the
Yeah,
best.
maybe we go #1 in Malaysia next week.
Maybe I start advertising Malaysian products. And that's what we're missing.
Yeah.
What are Malaysian products?
I'm about to Google this.
Yeah. Right.
I have already whipped open a browser window. What would be top Malaysian
Oh,
exports? No, top Malaysian exports. Electrical machinery,
Yeah.
mineral fuels,
What? Okay, fair.
machinery including
Oil is
computers,
everywhere.
animal and vegetable fats, optical, technical, and medical apparati. Hey, Max,
All right.
you're supposed to be in bed. Perhaps you should
So
go
yeah.
there.
So maybe next week
Yeah.
we get a big sponsorship from someone in the electrical machinery field.
I think we should shoot low, go for animal fats.
Yeah.
Okay, actually, pewter goods are
Hey, Max,
way
I'm
up
recording
there.
a podcast, but you need to go to bed.
Pewter, what do you make out of pewter besides like cauldrons?
Cauldrons. Yes, a pewter vase, a small
All the
pewter vase
Malaysian witches.
is around $34, and will serve as a good reminder of your trip to Malaysia.
All right.
Yep, that's the #2 export, or no, #2 things you should buy in Malaysia. Okay, that's a little different.
Yeah.
That seems weird.
Right.
I wouldn't buy that. I wouldn't buy that if
Love you.
that was American made.
What, Malaysia pewter cauldrons?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that seems
I'm
probably...
not quite witchy enough for that. And like a tacky witch at that.
So, yeah, if any Malaysian pewter cauldron makers
get
want to
off the
reach
internet.
out to the podcast, we will totally rep your shit.
Yeah, we'll host. I mean, Zill won't, but
Sorry,
everyone else will.
I
If
will.
it's pewter, maybe not. But anything
Promo
else,
code LOLA. Get your witchcraft on.
So-
now. Game
But
on.
then Zill, what is a premium cauldron made out of if it's not pewter?
I don't know, cast iron, right? Like
Cast iron?
traditional.
Wouldn't that like corrode though?
I mean, cast iron skillets don't, or they do
I
if
don't-
you don't take care of them.
It feels like if you
Well,
had
if
a
you leave
cast
them in
iron...
water,
If you had a cast iron, it wouldn't that like just put a bunch of iron in all of your potions?
I mean, probably, but like
maybe
that's
you're
called
anemic.
seasoning, right?
Yeah, you're anemic. You
Yeah,
need that
it'd
extra.
be good for the...
that boost.
It's not bad for you.
I
Not
think
like
it actually is. And
No,
It's
no,
not
no,
like
no.
lead.
It supplements you. I mean, people take iron supplements all
Yes,
the time.
but you could also like get iron poisoning.
Sure, like
We
too
don't
much
talk
water is
about
a bad thing. It's
And
called
I'm pretty
drowning,
sure if you're
okay? Like,
mixing magical chemicals, it's a lot like mixing pharmaceutical drugs. You probably just don't want to throw random elements in there, just
Yeah.
cause.
It's
look,
true.
I don't know what the regulations
Like-
are, man. I just know iron is pretty traditional.
The witchcraft regulations.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like if you you get a potion to like grow a beard and then you turn into a beard because it had too much iron in
I've
it.
seen people have
Not
that happen
cool.
to them.
So,
I mean,
all right, we're gonna skip this. Malaysia, hit us up. We're ready anytime. So,
Okay.
that being said, I would actually like to climb legitimate charts in first world countries. So if we can do that, that would be great. Let's try for that. Guys, so please keep up your reviews. I guess I probably need to review the show on, like, I don't know, Stitcher, or what do the kids listen to these days?
Apple Podcasts.
They
built in
do?
right there. I mean, that's where I get
Old
it.
people listen to Apple.
It's already installed. You don't have to go to the App Store for it. It's
Fucking
great.
A. All right, well, Apple Podcast, review us there, man. We got a few, but we could use more. Like I said, we need to climb that ladder of relevance. Want to sell Malaysian cookware. All right, so, Endevorite,
Yes.
I have drugged this thing out as long as
have.
humanly
I
possible.
think you've overhyped it too. But
What I sure did. That is kind of our bag. So, what happened to you?
Yeah, so 2 weeks ago, I was tired of not climbing, so I decided to just get good and climb. So, in about a week's period, I went from Plat 30 LP, where I'd been since placement, well, since, leveling out after placements,
Sure.
and I got up to mid LP D4. So
What?
it was a long climb and beyond frustrating, but it can be possible sometimes with a little bit of luck and a little bit of switching up how you're playing the game. And I
I'm
think that
happy to say
was
that I played two of those games with you,
he
and we
did.
won both of them.
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
you
we
used
did.
all your wins on Endevorite, huh?
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
Ah,
Yeah.
good to know.
had to play for Good
Priorities.
Blake. Yeah,
It's
Ah,
weird. Whenever he ganks my lane, it always turns out great. It's strange. We have this weird chemistry, I think. It's good.
yeah. No, so yeah, it was. I mean, it's my first time being above plat, and last season was my first. Was it? Yeah, I think last season was my first time being two plat.
Yeah, I remember you were really
So
excited to hit plat.
yeah, no, so that was a big step in diamond. I mean, I'm still as trash as I was before,
That
but
is not true.
it's a bit of an adjustment. So I mean, if you guys want, I had a few kind of like points of the things that I changed to
absolutely.
boost me. So I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of what I'm gonna say is things that you can hear pretty much anywhere else, right? The when it comes down to it, a lot of the things about climbing aren't that secret. It's just actually executing on them. So, the basics of just leaving the queue when you're tilted. So, if you have a really bad game or some really bad teammates, just play a normal, play some TFT if you really have that self-loathing already going on. But just step away from the LP for a second. So I mean that's one of the basic ones. But what I do, so I top lane main, and like Zill said, I am. I don't know if I can say I am or I was an Alawi main. I still play it a lot, but not as much in ranked. So I mean, Alawi got me from silver to plat easily. Great champion, and it gives you a lot of comfort in those kind of like 2v1 ganking situations.
Hmm.
But what I've really been liking to play the past few weeks has been like Scion, Yorick, Garen, and Kled. So I like that kind
Cool.
of a little bit more of a bruiser and aiming more towards a champion that's going to be relevant in the late game, whether or not you crush your lane.
So you said Scion, Yorick, and what?
Kled and
Pled and
Garen.
Garen. Yeah.
Kled
Yeah.
and Garen. Okay.
Yeah. So obviously, Kled's been becoming a lot more meta with his Q buff, and it's kind of disgusting playing into people, like Aatrox, who's the current top lane meta. But
So like basically like the Four Musketeers if instead of France the Musketeers were assholes.
yeah, pretty much.
All right, good choices.
Yeah, I mean, this is coming from someone who likes Alawi of all people. So yeah, no, but I mean, what I found is it's like I was trying so hard, especially on Alawi, to be this like top lane solo queue hero,
Yeah.
ungankable.
Yeah.
Go in, I can 3v1 anyone, and then people started picking like Morgana and Caitlyn and Kaisa, and then I couldn't ever touch them, and then I was just dead. It didn't matter if I crushed my lane
Yeah.
because I'd get into that mid to late game where, depending on how my bot lane did or how they'd picked, I might not be relevant anymore.
Yeah.
So I figured, okay, time to stop being the hero so much, especially because everyone seems to have that mentality of like, all right, I need to put this team 1v9 on my back and carry it. And that means your jungler, 9 times out of 10, isn't going to pick up the Sejuani. Even if it's effective, it's boring. And they're going to pick up that Master Yi or the Evelyn or like a Kindred. Someone who, not a bad champion, not bad for, team fighting, but they're also not going to frontline for you. And I realized that if I'm going to keep going these kind of high risk reward top laners, it's going to be up to me to crush the lane, and I don't trust myself to always win every lane. I get outclassed sometimes, but I found, playing someone like Scion, I can generally help my jungler by stealing a buff at the beginning of the game. By the way, if you are going to play Scion top, definitely invade. Don't die, but try and suicide on their like red buff or blue buff. Steal it, take the Gromp or one other camp, then TP back to lane. You'll come in with an XP advantage and a gold advantage and a level advantage. and you'll put their
Those
jungler
all sound like
behind.
great advantages. That's
It's
great.
great. And if you get that blue buff, then you're just spamming abilities for, your first few minutes. Awesome
Nice.
lane.
So basically, what
Cool.
you're saying is everything that I've ever said about climbing is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, this,
Mm.
Yeah.
this isn't like I'm not a sage or, discovering a new technique to League. It's just,
It's
you
like
know,
small but versatile champion pool, right? Kind of
mm-hmm.
with like what's strong ish.
Yeah.
And like how did you pick what champions to play actually? Like
Yeah.
did you
What
pick based on
Yeah.
matchup or like did you pick based on comfort? Like what was your thing?
Yeah, so
or requisite power level?
Yeah, yeah.
I was giving a lot of priority, obviously, to my lane matchup. So if I knew my pick was just going to get super bullied in lane, I wasn't going to take it, right? So,
Okay.
if I have like a Vayne top, I'm not going to pick Scion because you're 9 times out of 10 not going to be able to land anything on her if she's
Mm,
playing half decently, right? And it doesn't matter how much health you get, she's going to be able to, to shred you. So, in a lane like that, I might take something more like a Kled where I can actually get on top of them. But I'd look a lot at kind of like my bot and mid lane kind of win conditions. So if I have a Jinx bot lane, obviously I'm crossing my fingers that she's not going to feed. But on top of that, I realize, wait, if I can peel for her, I don't need to do any damage this game. You know what I mean? If I can
yeah.
peel and set her up and get her, just a half decent reset, she's going to shred the team and she'll do all the work. I just need to be annoying.
Yeah.
So, I was defaulting to Scion, Yorick if I needed that tankiness, but a little bit more split push power. And with that, with Scion, I was going not quite the Int Scion build that we saw, surface last season,
Sure.
but, a similar, still building Titanic, mostly building ZZ Rot, giving myself some side lane pressure so that I could, push that in, group with the team, ult in, and then help them, end the game with that. So, just kind of ensuring against that difficult lane. So if I win it, awesome. I'm, way on top. And if I lose it, I can still stay relevant and, positively affect
Yeah.
the
Apply
game.
pressure or help team fight. Yeah. So
Exactly.
you're like balancing out basically what your comp needs.
Yeah, trying to. Trying to.
I got one for you.
Yeah.
So, I had a user this week in Discord ask me a question, and I answered it like it's one of those questions that seems real easy, and then
Mm-hmm.
you go to answer it, and it's like the answer is completely situational,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I'm curious to hear how you answer it, particularly because top lane,
All right. Yeah.
maybe a different creature. So the question was, I have been, and this is not my question, I'm
Mm-hmm.
someone
Yeah.
else's question. So I have been
We'll see.
playing for a long time, and I have a tendency to build whatever the items are that comes across my recommended item page or my um, Blitz
Mm-hmm.
esports page or whatever, my
Pro builds.
imported
Yeah.
pro builds or whatever, and I just build them,
Mm-hmm.
right? How do I know what items are good in a particular moment? What should I focus on whenever I build? And
Mm-hmm.
should I change my build order and for what reasons?
Yeah. No, that's a great question. So for me, when I'm learning a champion, that I haven't played like 100 games on, obviously I'm going to pro builds all the time, looking at runes as well as the builds just to see, okay, what am I supposed to do? And, for some champions, like earlier today, I was playing Swain, and I'm not good at Swain, but there's kind of two camps as to what you should take on him. Should you go that phase rush build or should you go the more grasp tanky build? So that's what I'll default and mostly just go with kind of the recommended build slash the meta pro build, from pro builds. When it comes to builds on champions that I don't know. Now, when it comes to champions that I'm more comfortable on, it depends. I'd say I give first priority to my lane matchup as to what I'm building next. So, if I'm playing Scion into someone like a Renekton that can get on top of me and just, shred the crap out of me before I can get an ability off, I'm going to prioritize more armor and health before I build my damage. Whereas if it's more of a farming matchup, if it's someone, I don't know, like a Maokai or something like that, I might, go towards the Titanic first. That's also going to depend on where I'm at on kills.
At what
Um,
point do you look outside of your lane?
yeah. So, I mean, generally after my first item is where I really start looking outside of the lane. Because, by that time in the game, we're generally splitting out of lanes. So I'll take a look at, who's fed on their team and what the predominant damage style is on the rest of the team, basically. So, for example, if I have, a heavy 80 top, but everyone else is like a glacial with tons of CC, I'm gonna run Merc Treads. And honestly, it's probably a bad habit, but 9 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 games, I'm just gonna run Merc Treads as it is, just because I feel like CC is one
That's
of
a
the
lot of
biggest
games.
things.
But yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
I mean, and I'm not saying that that's the right thing to do. That's just what I've kind of default to do. Is I realize, and especially like on a Lowy, it's like I can deal damage to stay alive, but if I'm CC'd, I can't deal any damage.
Yeah.
And same thing. Even playing someone like Scion, it's like I have enough innate tankiness generally that I can withstand, some AD. I just need to be able to use my actions or be able to move, use some abilities.
Sure.
So as far as adjusting from the meta builds, I'd say I'm generally looking at who is their win condition, who is their most fed person, who's most likely, as we get past the 15-minute mark to give me the most trouble, and that's who I start to really itemize against. But I definitely fall into a pattern of build that isn't necessary. Like for example, the Titanic and ZZ Rot are no longer the normal thing to build on Scion. They're not recommended, and I don't build them every game. Um, but for some situations, I can apply more pressure than top laner if I do that. So that's what I'll go. So I'd say definitely look at who is popping off on their team, and who's most likely to pop off and give your team the worst, the most trouble, and then build towards that. And that's what I've been trying to shift away from that solo queue hero to more of the team player, and so that's what I'm trying to
Okay.
do with that.
Out of curiosity,
Mm-hmm.
at what elo, like, okay, let me throw a little bit of like fence post around this so I can like at
Okay.
least give you like a restrained area for this question because otherwise it's gonna be
Mm-hmm.
super broad. Um, I was explaining to him that while item choice can be super impactful in a game,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's something that you should spend a lot of effort on because the return is not that huge in like bronze or silver or gold, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
even if you just build standard items every single game, bronze, silver, gold, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like item choice is low hanging fruit because it's something that's easy to incorporate, right? And can make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to like focusing on improvement, there's like a whole lot of things that you need to do that can result in like very sharp and prolonged climbs versus
Mm-hmm.
like little peaks.
Yeah, no, and I definitely would say that like
Like,
changing up
do
your
you consider
itemization.
this like one of those, or like is this something that you should put a lot of energy to? And
No, I
if
mean,
so, at what elo?
yeah, for sure. So I mean, item choice obviously does play into the final result of the game, but I'd say the amount that that's going to affect your win rate is as long as you are sticking to the normal meta build, the accepted builds, as long as you're doing that, I'd say optimizing and customizing it per game is a lot less impactful than changing your warding habits or your grouping habits or your splitting habits. So I would definitely agree with you and say that it's not going to be the a game changer for most of the time. Um, unless there you have like for example, unless into an Aatrox you're building like an Executioners, right? That's not part of your normal build, but now becomes part of your build into that matchup, like that. That can be a big game changer. Into the big healers, buying some healing reduction. Um, if they go 80 top, 80 mid, buying some extra armor or picking someone like a Malphite or a Poppy or a Scion or even an Ornn or something like that, into those. But that's more of a champion thing even. Yeah, I'd say, obviously take a look at item builds, but don't sweat it. And especially it's more of a comfort thing to, I wouldn't start changing. I wouldn't start changing up from the default build until you know for yourself that this champion, I own this champion. This is my champion. I wouldn't start messing with kind of the agreed upon wisdom because there's a reason why you look at a champion on pro builds and they're like all pretty much the same mix of runes and builds is because these players know how to play better than I do, definitely, and they've realized that that's going to be more effective for them. Now,
I'm going to throw something out
yeah.
real quick. So, been learning Katarina, as everybody knows if you listen to that
Mhm.
episode, and I've made actually a shit ton of progress on that
He has.
champion. Feel a
This is
lot
cool.
better, and way more comfortable on it. And there was a couple of games where I was going off like 9-1 or something, right? And it got to the point where I had a ton of money, and I'm like, okay, normally the way that traditional wisdom on cat is build a hextech gunblade because
Mhm.
that actually makes your kit work, and then secondly you buy like a Zanya's, and then third you can buy whatever you want after that, right?
Mhm.
Um, and the way I had it was I could go back and I could finish my Zanya's, or
Start a death cap.
I could build a GA.
Okay.
And I already had the hourglass, and so I took the hourglass that I already had and built a GA. And the reason I did that was because I'm like, damn man, I am 9-1. If I don't die
700.
in the next team fight, if I just don't die, we win.
You
Mhm.
win.
And I was like,
That's
so
crazy.
I need to make sure that I have tools not to die. It's probably the
Mhm.
most important thing because if they can pop me, if they can end my, I get kills on everybody, I get resets, tee hee hee, then, you know, that can actually cause a swing back in the opposite direction. And I do scale with some AD damage. Like Cat has actual AD ratios in her kit, so it's not an awful item, and it fit perfectly into what I needed in the moment. And I went from 9-1 to like 13-1 and popped my GA and still had the
Mhm.
hourglass. Or not the
Yeah.
hourglass, the watch.
Stopwatch.
Mhm.
So it turned out to be like the perfect item, and then we ended the game shortly thereafter. But
Yeah.
if I would have built a death cap, I would not have been able to pull that off.
Like you still wouldn't have killed them fast enough before they killed you.
Right.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's and I run into that a lot, especially if I'm playing like a normal on a Lowy or playing on like an alt account on a Lowy. It's like it's a lot easier to pop off, and you get up to that like 5-0, 6-0, and you're just like, oh, I'm invincible. No one could ever kill me, so I'll just keep building damage, and they'll never be able to stop me. And then one of them just innately gets to the point where they can lock you down, or you're playing against like a Mordekaiser where you can crush him 1 through 5, but now at 6 he can just cancel your ulti, so it doesn't matter anymore. Yeah, and that's when you are ahead. It's a difficult thought, but like realizing that okay, part of being ahead means you need to stay ahead and maintain your relevancy, even if you don't keep popping off. Because going to 14-1 from 9-1 isn't it's still definitely an improvement, but it's not huge. It's not the same climb from 0-0 that you got up to that 9-1.
Yeah, you don't autopilot your build just because you're ahead. Basically, you need to
Yeah,
think just as hard about what you're going to build as if you were behind and being like, okay, what do I need to do?
exactly, and it's
Yeah.
that same kind of mentality that I'm trying to ensure against that difficult lane, maintain relevancy.
Yeah.
And that's the
Maintain
thing is,
relevancy. Yeah.
if you're super relevant right now, make sure that you will maintain that. Later game, don't just go for the flashy death cap just because you can afford it. if you're going to sacrifice, some key stats that you need, like a revive.
Question.
Hmm.
At what point do you like you're talking about maintaining relevance and expanding your lead and things like this, right?
Yeah.
And at what point do you think it is proper to switch to the mindset of lead preservation versus like keep climbing the mountain on damage or impact? Like what point do you trigger over and is that champion dependent?
For me, that's highly champion dependent. Because, like, for example, for Alawi, again, 9 times out of 10, I build 3 damage items and boots before anything else, and then I start to think about my resistances. I start with either a Black Cleaver or a Triforce. Now, the choice between those comes down a lot to how my lane's going. Am I stomping? Are they squishy? What do I choose there? But then, and then kind of also how I'm doing determines the order in which I build Death Dance and Steric's Gauge. But then when it comes to Scion, I kind of I start the game playing like I'm behind. And just okay, scoop up as much farm as I can, get as much free health off my W passive. Try and freeze until I can scoop a huge wave, shove it in, and get a demolish proc. So I think it comes down a lot to the champion. Um, yeah, it comes down to the champion. Yeah, it really does. I'd say. I don't. And obviously it comes down to how do you have a lead to preserve, right?
Mhm.
Because if you're 2-2, sure you got that extra 600 gold. You've also given up 600 gold, so you're breaking about even. It comes down more then to how's your farm looking, how's your wave control.
I know you've been working a lot on your TP plays,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you've made specific mention of like I want to focus on TP plays.
Yeah.
At what point do you think it is more viable to run TP rather than run like Ignite?
Yeah.
And like by what point, I mean whether that be elo or like a skill floor,
Yeah.
right?
So I
Like
mean,
what do you look what's the tipping on that?
yeah, for me it comes down again partly to the matchup and champion. So like Tryndamere, you're almost never gonna really be TPing in to join a team fight on Tryndamere. I mean, there's definitely better Tryndameres out there than I am, that might value that. But for the most of the time, I always want to be dangerous in lane, and that means having that level 1 potential, having that extra true damage and healing reduction for dive. So on someone like a Tryndamere, I might take an ignite, as well as maybe someone like a Garen, who again doesn't have the most impactful TP ganks, but if he can, shut down his laner, he can be, a very valuable asset. So a Garen into Riven, a Garen into Camille, or even maybe like a Nasus, where you can, keep his healing down when he's in his ulti with an Ignite. I think, that Ignite is an investment into your lane, and saying, okay, I'm going to be stronger in lane, I'm going to have, more all-in potential, and I'm going to be less worried about being able to cross map play with my team later. I think that would be the tipping point. Whereas, well, and then even on Alawi, I'm almost never gonna telegank with an Alawi, but I always want to be present in a lane, or I want to be able to farm across the map and then join for a team fight at like Baron or Dragon or something like that. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Okay, Zill, do you have any questions?
I don't know. It's kind of a dumb question, but
Yeah.
my question is like, so I have champs that like really annoy me that I hate playing against, and there's
Mm-hmm.
like not just one, there's like two, right?
Yeah.
And it's enough that like one ban won't just cover it, right?
Oh,
Like,
I know the feeling.
okay, good. So what do you do? Is this why you play different champions to like pick something into that like fits that?
Mm.
Or like and even if so, do you sometimes pick a champion and then you get like that champion you hate gets picked and you like
Oh
we're
yeah.
just hoping it wouldn't, but it does. And
Yeah.
like how do you deal with that? Cuz like it's not like, even at the moment you can kind of like not tilt. You can be like, okay, this is a different game. This is a different player. There's another person on the end of this that is human and can make mistakes. I'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then they kill you, and for no
Oh
reason,
yeah.
just like the normal way that they always do. Some
Mm-hmm.
bullshit riot.
Yeah,
cooked
Timo
up.
runs Ignite.
This game does not respect your time.
That's
Ah!
No, only on 2 champions, mind you, Aurelia and Yasuo. I'm being very specific. I understand exactly what the
Oh,
limitations
those
are.
are your two?
Yes.
I thought it would have been Talon. That champion's
No.
bullshit.
No, I just double bomb myself. He's invisible, but I still stun him.
No. I mean the fact that he like leaps over walls all nimbly bimbly.
I mean, if he escapes, I don't care. I get to kill
Yeah,
minions. I like
But
killing minions.
the pick rate on Talon is so low that
That's
like,
also
you can't
true.
can't justify the ban.
But
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
okay, you
How
know
to
what I'm
deal with
talking
it.
about. That
Yeah.
fever dream that is that champion you hate gets
Mhm.
picked.
Yeah.
What do you do?
So that's one of the reasons why I don't, just solely one trick one champion anymore.
Fuck.
It's actually
God damn it!
so last season.
God damn it!
So last season, actually, the reason why I started playing Urgot last season is because I was so tired of dealing with the bullshit that was Urgot last
I've got to
season.
cry.
You tell the guy named Kill Zill, like, oh yeah, don't one trick. That's why. He's
Yeah.
like,
or just get good. No, just kidding.
yeah, just
I mean,
No.
tell me.
I mean, when I'm looking at my bans, I worry more about the I don't know. I guess inevitability, like the Thanos,
Jesus
like
Christ.
the Thanos like capabilities of a champion. So, for example, Mordekaiser. I know I can beat a
Y'all didn't see
Mordekaiser
this,
in
but
lane.
Blake just finger snapped and it was fucking amazing. Anyway, go ahead.
No, but it's like I know I can beat Mordekaiser in lane. I know I can keep from feeding him, but I also
Sure.
know he's just going to be bullshit by the end of the game. I also know that I've lost lanes where he didn't build a scrap of AP and still did 1,500 magic
Yeah.
damage to
Yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah.
and
with
then you
9
end up
AP.
losing fights because you should have aimed for the head.
Yeah, exactly. See, it's the little things.
Yeah.
So, I focus more on bands like that than the annoying ones, because, like, when I was playing Alawi a lot, I kept getting, like, these Rise tops with, like, Phase Rush, which is the most bullshit. And this was before his latest rework, but still, it's like, okay, point and click me, throw 3 abilities at me, and then run away with a shield before I can respond. Great champ. And in those, it's just that kind of switch to, okay, survive lane, try and farm, best you can, and stay relevant for, later in the game. Same thing when you get, like, counterpicked and you start the lane 0-3. I did that last night. I think it was Alawi into Jax. It was a lower ELO game. It wasn't on my main. But still, I had, like, 3 ganks that came in before level 4 against me. It just felt really bad. But
Jax is one of those I always underestimate early. Like,
Yeah.
I know he's going to be a beast late game, right? Like, I feel like, but I can kind of handle it, right?
well, and I play
And then
terribly on him.
I can't.
early. Yeah.
And then, yeah.
Jax is
it's
one of
out
those
control.
that I've tried to play it. I'm like, yeah, I've seen this guy go off, and then every time I play it, I'm like, this champion sucks. like
Yeah.
I cannot make him
That's
do
me on
anything.
Jax.
He doesn't
That's me
feel
on
good to
Zaya.
play. It's
Yeah.
not
That's
even
me on
satisfying
Pike.
really when you kill someone.
But I know he's good, and like I know he's
Yeah.
like a crazy hyper carry. It's just I can't do it, and it's weird.
Well, that was humbling. I was talking to Ponderous about Jax, and I was like, "Yeah, my Jax just isn't too good. Like I used to play it a lot, but I just kept losing." He's like, "Honestly, if you can't play, and consistently just go even on Jax, there's something wrong." And so I like queued up in my next normal game on Jax, and just it went terribly. And I was like, "Yeah, no, I'm just terrible at this
I'm
champ."
just trash.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
So.
So,
Yeah, I mean,
okay,
Just talks down to everyone.
Very
including
your
himself.
champion
It's
pool
okay.
have an answer. Like Yorick and Urgot are both champions I picked up because I was having trouble beating them, and so it's like, okay, there must be something to this champion. And I'm not godlike on either of them, especially on the new Urgot. Like last version Urgot, I did a lot of climbing on, but I don't know, I just
Why?
can't.
I'm
Why
gonna
what?
I'm gonna throw some crap out here because I think
Okay.
I'm relevant to this answer because
Yeah.
of cat knowledge that I've been acquiring. So, as most of you know, Katarina has like very few real good matchups that you're good to go, right? Most matchups she has is like, how bad do you lose this? and then if you survive to a point, then you win, right? But you will hemorrhage until that point. And the one thing that
That's
I
weird
have,
because that's not how I feel going into a cat matchup. But you know,
well, what do you play like Zill? Because that you would
yeah,
be susceptible if you use the bombs to wave clear, because then I can go in on you.
that's true.
And
I
so
don't use the
anyway,
bomb swift clear anymore.
so like if you're playing cat, it's there aren't a lot of really good matchups. Like there are a lot of really hard counters too. And I was playing with Ponderous. I was like, God, I'm just having trouble laning. Let's just do 1v1s for a while. And he was like, okay. And he picks fucking Yasuo, which is also super hard counter to Katarina. It's very difficult. So he makes me play this matchup like over and over and over again when he's better at laning than me and playing a champion that counters me just to make me have to go like the extra mile,
Mm-hmm.
right? Felt like I was going the green mile, but whatever. That being said, like I did this over and over and over and over again, and like the takeaway from all that is like I've kind of learned to just be patient and concede CS in horrible matchups against horrible champions because if I'm just patient and I sit back and I like don't overcommit for farm and I just let shit go that I have to let go, you know, eventually opportunity will present itself.
Mm-hmm.
And that opportunity is doubly will doubly present itself if they expect me not to do anything because I haven't been playing like aggressively at all, right? Um, that has been a very like counter to my own instincts and the way I want to play, but I also recognize that in those matchups it's proper. And that was something that was like real hard for me to learn because you don't really get that in bot lane a whole lot. I mean, there are a couple of those matchups, but even the bad ones, you can still like kill one of the two of them and then 2v1 the other one.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like there's always like a way. In a 1v1 there's not so much. Like you if you're countered, you're countered. They have to make a mistake and you have to capitalize. So like don't be afraid to concede and then at the same time, and I don't by concede, I don't mean like play like the biggest bitch in the world. I mean don't pick fights that you know you're not going to win,
Don't
right?
greed
Like
for that cannon minion when,
right.
yeah, they have a whole, yeah.
And so like hell I was playing a counter matchup and they used a bunch of abilities and I just went in on them and traded and took about half their health bar. I was like, yeah, eat it. Because you can't do anything to me, so I'm going to go right back and then see you next time you make a mistake, right? But
Mm-hmm.
like, don't be afraid to call your jungler or tell your jungler, this is a horrible matchup for me, right? Like, there is nothing Cat can do against a Malzahar, right? Like that
Mm-hmm.
dude outshoves you. He has space aids, so you can't even get anywhere near the minion wave.
And he just sticks you in place if you get
And
close.
yeah, and if you ult, he ults you, and you
Mm.
die.
And he doesn't need mechanics to
And
do
he
it. He
doesn't
can
need
just
No.
do
mechanics to
it.
do
He
it
can
because
just
everything's
click,
point and
click,
click.
clickety,
Yeah.
clickety.
So,
I love Malzahar.
yeah, like that's a rough matchup for you. If you're gonna do anything, you have to have a jungler involved. Like just
Yeah.
have to.
Well, and
So,
I'd say, and I totally agree with what you're saying, but at the same time, there's also some matchups where you're only ever going to do something with a jungle matchup, and so maybe it's not the best idea for a jungle to come. Like, for example, like a tank matchup where you get counterpicked with like a Vayne top or something. Sure, you can kill her, but as soon as that jungle's gone again, you know you still don't have kill pressure. And so I've had some of those matchups where it's like, no, just don't come top. Let me suffer up here. You know,
mhm.
I'll try to not feed. You know, and I will give up a lot of farm, but you know I'll do my best to not give up kills, and kind of free up that jungler to hit those other lanes. And that's been one of my biggest like issues is like not flaming the jungler when they leave you alone on that top island in a
That's been
matchup
one
where
of
you
your
could
biggest
totally
issues
kill them
is
if they
not
just
flaming
came
the
up.
jungler.
Oh my goodness, I need
He
to
is
do
a
the
true
opposite of
duo
muting the
partner of
jungler.
Ponderous. He really is.
I need to do the opposite of like muting the jungler, where I mute myself from the jungler, so they're the only person who can't hear
That
me.
you can actually, Riot actually should implement that, like a self mute, so you
The
can
mute
just
yourself
type
button.
and
Don't-
you can just go ape shit and none of it actually gets sent.
Yeah,
But it
either that or
appears on
just-
your screen like you did.
Right.
just for
You
that,
think you talked, but
that
you didn't.
catharsis. Yeah, gotta let go sometimes. But
In
that's
fact,
the thing. Is like,
actually, that could be implemented like instead of a ban, right? You just don't know that no one else can hear you.
Yeah,
You
just
yell at the screen.
the shadow chat restriction.
Actually, that's brilliant. They should just
Isn't
do
it
that.
though?
They really
Yeah.
should just shadow ban people to where it's like, oh, you're not actually talking. You think you're talking.
You
think
waste
you're
your
being
time
toxic.
a little bit, but like for the most part, you just don't impact games negatively anymore.
Throw in an AI bot that spams some all chat just every once in a while.
Yeah,
and
it
make
could
you
like
feel
improv
there's still
random
something.
dialogue things. And
No,
stuff.
that'd be hilarious. But you
GG
know it's
better
Riot.
top wins.
Well, no, I mean,
comes in.
you
And
know
that way
it's
your team knows that you're flaming them.
no, it's like
But it's
you know it's Riot though, so that's gonna be all fucked up, and it's gonna be like,
okay. You're
well,
right.
no, the chat bot will say something like, "This Yasuo," and there's no Yasuo
Yeah,
in the
typical-
game or
typical
something.
Yasuo.
Yasuo.
Typical other
Like-
team, yeah. So yeah. Either that or like, so I heard there was this like AI bot that they put on the internet, and I think they let it browse onto like the Urban Dictionary to like teach itself, because it was it was able to kind of like pick up things from the internet and teach itself, and it became
What
like
could go wrong?
misogynistic and just like overly racist and insulting.
No
and so they're
way.
like restricted
From
it
the
off-
internet?
from the like
I
Urban
don't
Dictionary.
believe you.
So yeah, I think if they put in like an AI bot in the league, it'd probably just be the saltiest like addition they could put in there.
So
But,
no, that's interesting.
but that's the thing is like sometimes I have to realize like, wait a second, like I am not the win condition. Like yeah, sure, I could get a kill on Scion. Am I going to 5v1 kill the rest of the team if I do? No. I can push a few more towers with a few extra kills, but that's about it.
Hey, Endevorite,
Whereas yeah,
I have a question for you.
okay.
Is your mic muted?
It shouldn't be. Can you
'Cause,
not hear
like,
me?
yeah, no, your little bar isn't moving. And I was
It's-
just curious if that's
No, it's mute. It's moving for me.
Okay,
This is
thank
just
God.
a glitch with Squadcast. We're fine.
Yeah, no.
Okay,
Because
good.
I was gonna say because I can see Papa, I can see yours moving, but Zill's isn't for me.
Okay, good.
Okay,
Because yours
good,
isn't for
good,
me.
good.
Whew.
Neither
Hey,
of yours is
between
for
the
me,
three of
by
us.
the way. I was like starting to
Good
get
Lord.
worried. Zill mentioned it to me, and I'm like, oh shit. Did we just bomb we're in 57 minutes in? And, I was like,
This
I'm
is
gonna
one of
have
those
to.
self-exploratory episodes
like-
where we ask questions and
Well,
you
no,
answer them yourself.
literally, I was like at the beginning of the episode, like, thank you guys for sponsoring us so we could get Squadcast. Hooray! It helps the audio quality. That's so awesome. And then I'm like, we're going to have to rip this shit from Twitch, aren't we? Like,
Next week we'll use the podcast to pay for a Udemy course to learn how to use Squadcast. It'll be great.
we're going to put on a class for competitive irony and coincidental issues. And maybe that'll generate some money for the podcast. Anyway.
Yeah.
But okay, so final thoughts. I mean, we're at 58 minutes. We've had a pretty lively chat.
I hope so.
So I'm gonna give you the whole in a nutshell. If there is one thing that I'm gonna actually break this off. If there is one thing that you need to know to get to plat,
Mm-hmm.
what is the one thing that most people should focus on above all other things?
Just squeeze all the gold you can out of the CS. Like, kills are great. Kills are worth, what, 20 minions? That's awesome. But if you can just get 20 more minions than your laner, then you don't even need to kill him. You don't need to make any risky plays. You don't need to overcommit. You just squeeze CS out of the lane.
Killing
Learn-
minions. I knew it.
Learn how to freeze it. Because, I mean, that's one of the things is, regardless of your matchup, regardless of, the jungle pressure, if you can just CS better than them, you're already going to come out ahead in items and gold. And that's going to allow you to take their turrets. So control the wave and squeeze the gold out of the CS. Any kills are just bonus.
Okay.
That's what I'd say.
Second follow-up question. What is the one thing that platinum players need to focus on to get to diamond?
At least I'd say in the top lane, worry less about being the solo queue hero yourself and think more about how you contribute to your team's win condition. So does that mean you need to play a tank so that you can initiate and peel for your squishy glass cannon ADC that can, wipe the whole team? Maybe it does. Maybe you have a few more of those games where you want to kill yourself because no one will gank for you and you can't, you can't 1v1 your laner. But if you can translate that into a team fight, just, worry less about being the star and worry more about being, that the better team, I guess.
So, Blake, can you think of an analogy for that?
What? Worrying about being the
Not
star?
being the better star, but worrying about being the better band member?
What, like a jukebox hero?
Sure. I don't know the reference, but I'll take it.
How do you not know the reference? Jukebox Hero. It's a song by Foreigner. It's literally about being the best at...
Stars in your eyes?
Thank you!
I don't know. I've never
What? Are you just dicking with me? You're really dicking with me right now.
No.
Really?
Right, we're gonna have a post.
Oh my god!
Right now.
Like I literally just want. If it wouldn't ruin the
man, was the
podcast right now
for culture.
Like if it wouldn't ruin the podcast with copyright infringement issues, I would just play the fucking song right now.
All right, but Zil, what's your metaphor? What's your analogy?
I don't know. Blake comes up with these, so I just want to hear what he has to say.
I thought you had one in mind.
No, I felt like we needed an analogy, and you weren't giving us one, and so I thought other Blake will do it.
So don't be the hero. Support your team, so someone else can be the hero. So the job gets done. Shit, I've only had 2 hours of sleep. This is a 4 hour of sleep amount of analogy. Either that or my analogy is going to be real fucking weird.
It's okay. We already told people it would get weird.
Yeah,
they were warned.
Okay, so analogy.
I don't know. Team leader in assists rather than kills.
No,
not in a literal
straightforward
sense.
And simple.
Yeah.
That does accomplish the goal, but it's like in a way that people expect and doesn't make people go, "What the fuck is he talking about?" Oh, I kind of get
true.
what
We
he's
need
talking
a
about.
level of
what's the ZZ
here.
Rot, maneuver here?
Yeah. Okay. So. I'm gonna come back to it.
All right.
Okay,
All
but
right.
here I will. By the end of the episode, I'll come up with something. So, Endevorite.
Yes.
As you
You're
well
so
know,
tired.
our good buddy Zill has not been subject to pop culture since 2005, and we have recently done these are some movies he should watch to catch up with the human race.
No, as in anything after 2005. As in, you can kind of imagine that I just came out of existence at that point in time.
Yeah, that's what I
Okay.
said. You haven't watched anything prior to 2005.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Right.
So I just saying it in a different.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So, do you have any films or cinema that is particularly meaningful prior to 2005 that my buddy Zill needs to watch to be a complete human being?
I got plenty of great old films. I don't know if they're life-changing, but they're just...
I've seen a lot of old movies.
They're
That's
just,
probably not a good
quality-
idea, unless they're 80s and 90s movies, and then maybe...
Oh, I'm talking pre-80s.
Yeah, I've seen 60s.
Have you seen The Court Jester?
Oh my god, that's my fucking favorite movie.
It's a great
Are
movie.
you serious?
Okay. Yeah. That's a
Holy
good
shit,
one.
Danny Kaye, 1957.
It's 50,
It's something like it's
I think.
yeah. That's
Okay,
literally
so I
like my
failed
favorite
to
movie.
mention you can't go back into like the golden age of cinema because while he hasn't seen anything
It's
from
55.
childhood,
55,
he's
Yeah.
yeah,
1955.
he somehow has made it into like Turner Classic Movies territory and he's seen all those.
Okay, and
So
like
that
this
doesn't
connection's
count.
so
That
weird.
doesn't count.
Okay,
Yeah.
no, like I make my friends watch this movie like every year at like a
Okay,
new
so
group of
I
friends.
picked up the
Yeah.
analogy, right?
All
So
right.
like
Yeah,
fine,
this is
fine,
gonna be a
fine.
chance to think about the movie. Yeah.
the football team, right? All those guys, the star athletes, they're out there. They're pounding pads. They're moving that ball down the field. They're going to get their touchdowns and shit. They look great out there, right? And they're the stars. We're making them perform. They can't do shit if they're dehydrated. So the water boy needs to step up. He needs to make sure that those guys keep that liquid nourishment in them. Keep the
Dude, I'm not
keep the
playing
blood
Unitop.
flowing. And coincidentally, The Waterboy is also a movie from the time period in which, these movies, Adam Sandler comedy about a water boy who literally joins the football team and takes over. So, full circle, analogy plus movie reference
I don't know
falls
if
in your
that's.
court, bitches.
I don't know if that's exactly like the most meaningful movie to suggest.
Oh, it's not meaningful. It's just
It just ties in.
it just ties in, and
Okay.
it's from the time period, and most people have seen it, and it was an enjoyable flick. Not the best one, but enjoyable. I mean, it doesn't have to be like fucking this movie changed my life. Like for example, my wife was watching I think it's called like Now and Then. It was like this Christina Ricci movie, like the little girl who played Wednesday Addams, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And her like three friends are all going through major life issues and they're all girls and it's like a coming of age and they're trying to solve a murder mystery and Brendan Fraser's a hippie that they smoke cigarettes with for no reason because in 80s movies you just smoke cigarettes with kids. That's just what you
Yeah.
did.
Right,
I mean,
right, right.
Yeah.
these are like 13-year-old girls and Brendan Fraser's like, I just got back from Nam. I got shot in the knee. Here, four girls, let's all smoke cigs together while we talk about your parents not knowing everything that they should know. I had never seen this movie before, but I could tell that that was probably a pretty significant movie and I just kind of missed it. You know, these are the kind of movies I am suggesting. Do you have one
All
of
right.
those?
Yes, I do. Zil, have you seen Memento?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's so good. Directed by Christopher Nolan. If you've seen like the
I
Dark
do
Knight
like Christopher
trilogy.
Nolan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the one with the guy that has the tattoos?
Yes. So your
Don't-
introduction.
Okay.
This guy has short-term memory loss. So imagine you could only remember for 5 minutes at a time, but you were trying to solve your wife's murder. But you can only remember the new things you find out 5 minutes at a time. So basically, it's a really cool premise. On top of that, the story is told from both ends. So you'll see about 5 minutes at a time from the end of the timeline, and then 5 minutes from the beginning of the timeline, and then they work towards each other till they meet in the middle. It's really cool, and
Okay, I'm down.
I will
it flips
say,
around what you're expecting.
All right, I'm down.
I will say I was entirely surprised that's the movie you picked. But now that you mention it, it was a really well, like, directed movie.
Like it's a cool story. It's a cool premise. It's a cool. I don't know.
It's told well and in a unique
Yeah.
way. Okay,
Exactly.
I'll buy it.
Yeah.
Probably
That's a good
better than The Waterboy.
Yeah. I don't know. Have you seen Minority Report?
I have.
Okay, that's another good one. As well as like Paycheck, if you've seen that one. Ben Affleck.
I have actually
Okay.
seen those movies. Yeah.
There we go. That's why I went with Memento, because I knew you hadn't seen it.
There we go.
All right.
All right.
So, Zil, have you watched any of the movies that the fans have suggested you watch?
What fans?
Like the
You?
people wrote into the
What
podcast.
fans?
No,
Oh.
people wrote into the podcast and they're like, Zil should watch this movie. Zil should watch
Oh.
that movie.
No, I
No.
haven't.
Dude, I think we should make it a segment that you should just like talk about a movie that you saw and what your impressions were
What if we
from
just
like
have, like-
15 years ago.
Okay. Okay.
Zill's weekly like movie stream where the
Right.
camera doesn't look at the movie. It just
It
looks at
can't
Zill
be
as he
weekly. It
watches.
really can't.
No, no,
I
no.
can do
All
it
right,
monthly.
daily. We can do
Okay, it doesn't
daily.
even have to be weekly. I'm just saying. I just want you to come
What
on the.
fuck?
I just want you to come on the podcast and be like, so this week I watched Goonies.
All right.
This is
pick
my
one of the ones the
opinion.
listeners pick for me. Y'all filter from that.
Well, start with
And I'll do it.
Memento.
Yeah, we
Well,
can start
you
with
know-
Memento. That's fine. I think
Let's
Memento's
pick
a fine
the one
film.
the listener did, because I actually think I might watch Memento and enjoy it. Let's do one of the.
Yeah,
other
I would
ones.
actually
don't know.
prefer it's one that you don't enjoy. That would actually be more fun for me.
Like, I can't believe you.
Well, I'm
sent
just
me
saying,
this shit.
Endevorite's known me for 2 years. Like, he just mentioned a movie from the 50s that's like one of my favorite films. Like,
I think
yeah,
you'll
this guy knows
probably like your film from the 50s more than you like Memento. I'll just throw that out there. Though I think Memento
that's
is,
been the
it was-
case.
It was good.
largely
Yeah.
already. So
I thought it was
okay.
an enjoyable film.
Well, yeah, I think it's more of a thinking film than a like. Man, I feel like.
Yeah, like
you
I
just-
don't, I've
you
never
just feel
thought
happy
about, I've
after
not
the
thought about the
Jester.
movie Paycheck since I
Yeah.
watched it. But like,
What
you
was the
mentioning
movie
it, I was like,
Paycheck
That's really
about?
cool. He wakes up in a room, right, and it's like dark, and there's a bag full of items, and he doesn't know what happened.
Kind of. So this guy, his job is to reverse engineer products, basically like rip off products.
Mm-hmm.
And so the companies, to mitigate their liability, they just wipe your memory. So you sign up for the beginning and be like, okay,
And
I'm
spoiler
gonna,
alert,
you know, I'm
yeah,
gonna
sure.
steal your competitor's stuff for 3 months, and then you'll wipe my memory, and then I won't know what happened, and then you'll have this great product.
With plausible
So-
deniability.
Well, yeah, because
Who's
he
in
doesn't
it?
know what he did.
It's
I think
Ben Affleck, actually,
is
and
the
Ben
lead.
Affleck?
Yeah.
Huh.
Also, I like Batfleck.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember one of the recommended movies that I would actually really want you to watch because it's fucking terrible. But it's like that sweet spot of terrible where you're like, oh my god.
Did
Like,
a listener recommend this, or just you?
I don't remember. It might have been a listener. I'm pretty sure it might have been a listener.
Mm.
I'm smiling really big because I am almost positive I think it was a
All
listener.
right, what is it?
The Wicker Man.
Oh, I've.
I'm pretty sure that was just you.
No.
It's Nicolas Cage. It's
Yes,
Nicolas
it
Cage,
was.
So I might get it. I might
Yes,
get
it
a
was
chance.
Nicolas Cage. It was the day that Double Snipped wore his Nicolas Cage shirt, and we were talking about the Wicker Man, and I think it was a listener.
See, I've seen some Nicolas Cage films.
You know, it doesn't actually. It's actually got a decent rating on IMDb.
Wicker Man?
Yeah, it's like 7.6 out of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't read the reviews.
Oh wait, hold on. I think I'm looking at the 1973 version.
Yeah, no.
Never mind, it's 3.7 for Nick Cage.
There it is. Okay.
Okay.
And yes, I would like to
Yeah.
hear, because it
I
gets,
have seen Season of the Witch, unfortunately, and that was horrifying.
I'll just say this: Wicker Man
Good song,
takes a
though.
turn, and nobody would guess the turn, and that's probably the best part.
I
So
don't know. There was a movie with Nicolas Cage. It wasn't The Happening, but it was like The Happening. I can't remember what it was
Oh,
called.
the one where they can predict disasters.
Something like that, where the girl like draws pictures of shit and like they start interpreting the future events. I think.
Yeah.
that's Minority Report.
No,
No, there's
That's
that
not
was
Nick
actually
Cage.
well done.
Knowing. I think it's called Knowing, right?
Knowing, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that one's god awful. And
Yeah.
dark.
I would
Really
actually
dark.
love to just hear your
Not as
opinion
bad
on
as-
movies. I
Hold
just
on, hold
want
on.
to do this. Like, let's
No,
just do this.
Have you
Not
guys-
right now.
We'll make it a segment. We'll do
Because
it.
we have literally
Yeah,
gone
segment.
15 minutes not talking about League of Legends to round out the podcast. So that's fantastic.
Sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
by the way, we just did the TFT tournament. And the two guys won. Actually, two guys from the podcast won, but they didn't get any prizes because they're from the podcast. But the other two guys, they did win. They got their sweet LOLA champion tag in the Discord, so their name is in gold now, and that's cool. And then I each got them a mystery skin because that's what we do with podcast money. So, enjoy,
Although
guys.
my game where I won got to Elder Drake, past Elder Drake. Like
It
several
did?
rounds past Elder Drake. Yeah, it was crazy.
Damn, I've never
Um,
even seen the Elder Drake on
Oh
TV.
yeah, like it was like it wasn't 40
Wait,
minutes, but it was
There's
like
more
crazy
than one
close.
Drake?
Yeah,
Oh
so I
yeah,
said-
it was insane, dude.
That's
There's
how
a
I'm at
Drake?
TFT.
It was a giant slugfest.
I was
like,
get eighth way before
Wait.
that.
Wolves? There's wolves in this game?
Oh my god, you people!
I still
Do you
can't
not
figure out how
like
to.
just
Still
Not
can't figure out how to
playing-
beat those
Hit
first two
yourself.
really
minions.
That's what TFT is.
So, okay. Well, anyway, thanks guys for participating. We'll
Yeah,
do
thanks for
another
having me.
TFT tournament soon, and
Yeah, it was actually really fun.
that was I think it went really well. We had like 18 people. I think if we did it with enough like prior notice, we could break like 30, and then it would be like a bigger event, and I would probably do
Yeah,
like
if we could get like
more
2 or
prizes.
3 TFT games going at once and then narrow it down to the winners, that'd be cool.
Yeah, because I could do more prizes if that's if we
Which
had
is
a
another
bigger
reason
pool.
why you should support the podcast.
Yeah, that would be cool. So, thanks, Endevorite. Appreciate you stopping in.
Yeah. thanks
You
for
are
having me.
welcome back literally any time. And, obviously we're going to wait for that fan feedback. So if you liked Endevorite, please reply and review the podcast accordingly. 5 stars on whatever, because I want to be hot in not Malaysia. And let me know. And then if you didn't like him, please leave a 5-star review telling me that you didn't like him in
I'll
anything
never
that
come back.
in Malaysia, because we might as well climb the charts there too. They love us. So
Yeah.
actually, they love 67 people more than us, but they love us on 68. And by the way, we're kicking League Cast ass in Malaysia. They're not even on
Oh,
the
yeah.
charts in Malaysia.
There we go.
That's us, baby.
That's what matters.
That's us. We have a market. So that we just ostracized
For
today.
putrid
We had a
markets.
market until this episode. So thank you, Malaysia. And thank you, listeners. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
All right, recording is stopped. Stream is still live. Good episode.